Happy New Year, beautiful people, and welcome to 2026. This is Dr. Vanessa Short with Conversations with Chosen Pen, and I am excited to have you as our special guest throughout this first quarter of the new year. The theme is Women to Watch, the 2026 edition, and each month we have a specific focus. We're going to kick this quarter off in the month of January, introducing you to the Divas of DeSoto County, Mississippi. These entrepreneurs and thought leaders are making a difference, and I cannot wait to introduce you to each and every one. In the month of February, we're focusing on leaders with heart. These women are advocates for causes that they are extremely passionate about. Each one lives in a different state. Each one has a phenomenal platform, and you're going to learn more about their work in their communities. In the month of March, we're going to close out the quarter with lights, camera, action. Each one of these women are engaged in the arts community. They are either writers or producers or directors or agents. They are award winners. I cannot wait for you to meet them. The entire quarter is already booked. Needless to say, I'm excited, and I want you to join us each Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Not only do I want to see you join us, but I want you to invite a friend. Welcome to 2026. Let's get this exciting quarter started. Make it a great day, and I look to see you soon. Hey, great Tuesday, fabulous people. It's Dr. Vanessa Short once again here with Conversations with Chosen Pen. Listen, I know you already know if you've been following how super excited and extremely delighted I am about this particular quarter, because I am going to introduce you to a lot of phenomenal women. And let me just say that this, for those who might think I am not anti-man at all. Listen, I'm married to a man. My daddy is a man. I love men, okay? But this quarter, it's all about the women and the women to watch. And this month, as I already shared, it's about the women of DeSoto County, Mississippi, the county for which I now call home again. And I have another fabulous guest with me, Miss Vanessa Burse. I call her Miss Hospitality. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey, Anissa, how are you?
Doing excellent. Thanks so much for saying yes to the invite to be a part of the show. I want people to know who you are. So how would you introduce the one and only Vanessa Burse?
So, first of all, I will introduce myself as a mom. I am a mom of one, 18-year-old boy, which is my whole heart. I am a friend. I'm a loving person, always someone that's inviting. Just I would say just an all-around good person. Very friendly, love to meet new people. Um, that's pretty much about it.
You know, that's the best way to describe yourself. And that's what makes you so great at what you do. As one that's been in hospitality for, I know, at least 20 years, your personality
28.
works in your, yeah, I know. I was going to say it's probably longer than that.
Yeah, 20 is going on 28 years now.
Are you really 28 years old?
Barely.
So a social butterfly is another title I would use to introduce
Definitely.
to Vanessa, because the funny thing is that everywhere we go, hey girl, what's up, girl? Or somebody she knows, you know, and it's inevitable. But of course, when you live in DeSoto County, you work in DeSoto County, you were reared most of your childhood and even adulthood in DeSoto County. I would expect for you to know people in DeSoto County. What I find strange is someone who's lived somewhere all their life and they only know the 4 or 5 people they grew up with and maybe 1 or 2 more. To me, that's odd. But then, of course, I too am a social butterfly, so I find it hard to believe that people don't want to meet people. So
Right.
I've been calling you Miss Hospitality, and that's really because you have been engaged in the hospitality industry for years, as you said, almost 28 years. And I wanted you to be on here because there's so much that's going on in DeSoto County. Truth be told, this county has bloomed, blossomed, and expanded so much so that really people think sometimes they're still in Memphis because we're so closely connected. It's just the state line between us, and we are a part of the Memphis metropolitan area. There's a lot of things that go on in this area, and a lot of that can be commingled. It's either people live in DeSoto County, they work and play in Memphis, or they live in Memphis and they work and play sometimes when they come to DeSoto County or the surrounding area. And you've been very much involved in all of that. Talk a little bit about the evolution of that, if you would, in the 28 years that you've been exposed.
Oh, yeah. So it has definitely grown, like you said. So in the area, I mean, again, like you said, I grew up in around here, and you can see with just your everyday thing, all the stores that have come into the area, how there are a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants. Well, and one thing for sure, schools. You see where schools, I mean, the more population you have to have, larger schools. When I grew up here, first came to DeSoto County, it was Horn Lake, Hernando, Olive Branch, and South Haven. Now you have, so many different schools, and all over, DeSoto County. So yeah, it has really grown. Like I said, grocery stores, shopping, you name it, churches. I mean, even with that part aspect of it, churches have grown, communities have grown. It's just like you have a lot of transplants, and when I mean by transplants, people that come from like the Delta area come up here because there's more to offer, there's more to do. Again, with the schools, there's better schools in this area, so it definitely has grown quite a bit since I think we moved in DeSoto County in the 90s,
Right.
1990s. And so from then to now, a tremendous thing, and even with local like the arena, the
Right.
Javits Center, being in DeSoto County and being the venue that a lot of like people hold events at, and now it's grown so much that they're expanding.
Exactly.
Um, to build a new convention center with embassy suite, attached to it. So you just see like the growth in that alone.
Exactly. I can attest to that because I moved away 30, I had to think about it. 32 years ago, I moved away from the area because we
Hmm.
were raised and went to school in Memphis. And then just before I finished high school, my mom then moved to DeSoto County. And then a few years, maybe 5 or 6 years after that, I ended up leaving because of work. So I've been gone over 32 years. And I was telling someone just the other day, I said, yes, I know DeSoto County and I know the Memphis area, but I'm having to be reintroduced to this area
Absolutely.
because there's been so much growth. Places that I remember, I'm like, I don't want to live out that way. Oh, it's nice out here. Where
Oh,
did they put these
right.
stores? When did they put these stores here? That kind of thing.
Well, even just that, think about growing up in Nesbitt.
Yeah,
Our grandmother's house was right in a country. The
yeah.
next house
Was
is
about a half a mile, a
miles,
quarter mile down
you
the street,
know.
right?
But if you go on in that same area, in that same, big, beautiful houses,
Right.
very nice residential
Exactly.
neighborhoods,
Right.
it's
It's just a lot
totally
of change.
different.
Time brings about change. It really does.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things I can recall, right, just in the early 90s, I'm about to date myself. It was probably mid to late 80s, the casinos popped up. And
Yes.
that was all the thing. There was all the talk. The good Christian folks were like, "Oh my Lord, the
They were
devil's coming
sneaking
to
down
the
there.
area." And they were sneaking down there eating dinner
Yeah,
and gambling themselves. And then people would, they just had but then it brought jobs, better jobs for people, especially in the area for which it is located, because it was known
absolutely.
as the Delta, and nothing was really
Sugar
available.
Ditch.
Sugar Ditch, yeah, I remember that. And
Well, one thing about that was Tunica was the poorest
county,
county
hmm,
in the United States, not just
right,
in the state of Mississippi, but in the United States.
right,
So it definitely brought about a change for them alone.
it did,
Where some homes did not have running water, things like that. And to think even in the 90s that people were still living like that.
yeah.
So it did bring about a great
A
change
major
for them.
change. Right, right. A
Absolutely.
lot of my friends got involved, became employed with the casinos. That was never, never my cup of tea. I went a totally
Mhm.
different direction, but I did enjoy occasionally, that is, venturing out for entertainment purposes only, that kind of thing. We knew we could
Yeah,
eat good and have a good time. And if we
you
by chance won some money at the quarter slots, we would be
right.
okay. But then of course what ended up happening is that when they had the one or two and introduced it to the area, that area evolved with, I think, was it up to like 12 casinos at one time? It was
Uh,
quite a
it
few.
was either 10 or 11. I
Yeah,
want to
it was
say,
quite a few.
yeah, around
Yeah,
10 or 11.
right.
Yeah, Tunica was a destination
It
event.
was.
And by you mentioning it, it's in the middle of nowhere in the Mississippi Delta in the flats. And just with the casino industry in itself, has changed dramatically because even no matter where you go now, you could probably go to a casino in
Yeah,
any state. So
exactly.
when they first came about, it was a destination because there were not casinos like there are now.
No, it
Now
was.
you just about any state you go into,
There's a
there's probably
casino.
a casino
Most
there.
definitely. Now
Very
you got
few.
employed. You were your introduction into the hospitality industry started, and that's the reason why we're talking about the casinos
Yes.
and how the evolution of that destination is because you became introduced to the hospitality industry through your employment with the casino. Let's talk a little bit
Mhm.
about the evolution of Miss Hospitality herself. How did it all start for you?
Okay. So I was working at Kroger. And a friend of mine that went to high school with me, he worked at Kroger at one time too. And he said, "Hey, V, there's a position at Sam's Town. I think you should apply for it." And I was like, okay. And I did. So I applied for it, and it was for what they called a player services agent, which is basically taking hotel reservations. So I worked in the call center for hotel reservations. So the thing about that is I've worked in the casino for now 27 years and I have never worked on the casino floor. I've always been in like a administrative type of department,
Right.
nothing where I'm on the floor on slot machines, at the tables, or anything like that. So I worked at Sam's Town from 1999 to 2006. I worked there, had a few positions. So I did the player services agent, and then I went to the lead of that department, and then I went to they dissolved the department and kind of merged them together, the call center together with Baton Rouge.
Okay.
So after that happened, they kept me on and created me a position called the group tour coordinator, which basically I was just taking care of all the bus groups and everything, making sure everything was in. So
Now
after I left,
don't downplay that because the bus groups became like
well, listen,
Vanessa. They knew you personally,
they
because they were
did.
repeats. You guys
You
got to
know what?
understand, people would come from everywhere to Tunica, Mississippi,
They
and
would.
Vanessa
I
knew them
mean,
all.
even me working in the reservations department, over the phone, you would meet so many people. And then when they came to property, they want you to come out and meet us because our our office was located behind the front desk. And so I remember this one lady, I would never forget her. She was from Wagner, Oklahoma, an older lady. Her name was Gina Wagner. And she would call, "Hey Vanessa, Gina Wagner, Gina from Wagner, Oklahoma." And I was like, "Hey." And it was so funny. And so when she would come and introduce herself, even, because you see a lot of characters. We had a guy, he was a high roller, came from Nashville, had one arm and one leg. Just, just random stuff. But though they would ask for you and ask for you to come out, and you would just over the phone, and then you meet them in person, and then they're your person forever.
Yeah, yeah. I knew that happened for you. I remember when you were in charge of the RVs that
Oh, I
and you
love the RV.
tell me
Oh,
about that.
actually, I did work. I forgot about that. So I would float between doing reservations and working down at the RV park, which I love because I was down there by myself. And people who, if you don't know, people who live in RVs, a lot of them do full time and they just travel around, and they are the most welcoming people ever. I mean, they want you to come in their RV, and that's actually why I, fell in love with RV. And I've always said I want me a RV, and I want the big 55-foot RV that costs
I
$300,000.
know, right?
But yeah, I worked down there and just meeting them, and I would pick them up on the golf cart, drive them back up to the casino. It was just a good time. It was so much fun.
I've always had the impression that you absolutely loved what you did and what you do. And I think
Mhm.
it like I said earlier, your personality is fit for this. So it's not
Mm.
anything out of the norm because you're very warm and greeting and conversational. That's a new word. I use that term. I'm a conversationalist when my mama said we talk too much. But
Okay.
you need to be conversational to make people feel warm and friendly. And hospitality is the perfect fit for you. And I've always thought that. So you were at Sam's Town is one of the casinos for those who don't know. So that's the first one that you were hired in, and then you went to another property. Is that
So
right?
then I started working for Caesars Entertainment, and I have been with them now since 2006. I'll be celebrating my 20 years in June of this year with Caesars Entertainment. So I started off in the bus department as a tour and travel coordinator, and then I kind of moved around with that, and I went to like the lead. I left that department, and then I went to it was called National Casino Marketing, which is the plane program, pretty much where we flew people in from city all cities across the United States. Now that's where I met a lot of people.
Now let me tell you this. That's the program I did not get a chance to effectively take advantage of because
No.
somewhere around that time, when did you start in that department? Because I moved to North Carolina in 2013, and
So
you were in that
2000.
department before then, weren't you?
Honestly, I think I was 2016. Okay, I'm trying to count back.
It wasn't too long after that because I remember
So
Vanessa
no,
saying.
no, I think maybe 2006, maybe 2008,
Okay, so
maybe.
you were already in that
Yeah,
department because when I moved to North Carolina, that placed me like 11 12 hours away from family. And then Vanessa says, we have a charter that comes from Fayetteville to the casino. And I'm like, are you serious? And she's like,
We
yeah.
had one from Fayetteville, from Kinston, from Raleigh. Yeah, oh yeah. Those were actually some of our biggest cities.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, those cities are not cities. Let me just tell you. They're small, quaint communities. But nevertheless, when she told me they had charters coming in and out flying, I was like, so they'll fly me to Tunica because then that was like 45-minute drive, 30-minute drive to my mama's house from there if I could just get there.
Right.
And then the flights were much more economical than commercial, truthfully
Yeah.
told. And I never got a chance to take advantage of it. I do remember the time you had to fly into Greensboro, South North Carolina, to attend
The
a
conference.
conference in Winston-Salem. And then I
Yes.
pick you up and you said, "Do you know where oh God, I just went blank. Oh gosh. Oh God, I can't think of the
Was
name
it
of outside of Greensboro.
Green? No, it ain't. It's not
Mm-mm,
Greenville.
mm-mm. No, it's not. It's oh, I just went blank. It's a very wealthy community right outside of Greensboro. It's in the
Oh, and
same
we
county.
drove through there.
Yeah, and you asked me, you said, "Do you know where this town is?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're in the same county." You're like, "I want to go see it." And I took you there and you was like, "This is big. This it?" I'm like, "Yeah, this it." But they have the most one of the wealthiest colleges there. Chapel oh, I cannot think of the name of the town.
I
I
hate
have
when that
clients and
happens.
friends that live there. It escapes me, so I apologize.
And
It'll
I
come back.
probably asked because I have customers. I
You
had,
did because you
yeah,
called one while we were there, and you said, "Guess where I am?" And they were like, they weren't home because you
oh,
wanted to go
yeah.
see them. Yeah, I remember that. It's plain as day, and they gave me a great perspective into not only the work that you do, but also the connections that you make. I feel
Hmm.
safe to say that no matter where you go in the United States, you probably have a name, somebody that you built rapport with or
Oh,
connection with in some capacity.
mm, mm.
That was a great thing for you. I remember that. I was like, oh my gosh, she's just not serving these people, but she's building rapport and relationships with them. Because I remember that lady saying, "Oh, Vanessa, I can't believe
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not home," that kind of thing. And you were like, these people came on a regular with a chartered plane
yes,
on a consistent basis. You was like, I just knew this was a big town. And I'm like, nope, there's nothing big
yeah.
about it, none
No,
whatsoever.
they came once a month.
And how big would these planes be, Vanessa?
130 seats on a plane.
Okay.
So how they market it is, I mean, it's a very lucrative business. And that
Mhm.
probably was one of my reps that I was
Okay.
trying to reach out to.
Okay. Probably
So what
so.
they did, it was we had a a contract with Allegiant Air.
Okay.
And so Allegiant Air had a dedicated plane that flew just for us.
Okay.
And it was 130 seats. We would take a certain amount of seats, and like that potential rep would take the other amount of seats, and they were
Okay.
responsible for filling those seats with
Okay.
players.
Gotcha.
And that's how they work. And sometimes like out of Raleigh or in that area, the rep would have like majority of the plane. And
Mm-hmm.
then we would have, we'll just pull from that demographic from that
Right.
area and offer to other players that
Gotcha.
were not on there. Yeah, it was
The
it's
community was
big
High Point.
business.
It's High Point.
High point, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes, it was High
yes,
Point. Okay. So you did that, and then now you are in a different capacity, but you're still with Caesars. So let's talk a
yes,
little
I'm
bit
still
about
in season.
what you do now, which is really what you've been doing for a while now, and how
Yes,
you
for the
can
last 10
serve
years.
the people who might be listening or viewing either later or later tonight or at any time later. So let's
Okay.
describe what you do, what your responsibilities are first.
Okay. So now I am a regional sales manager for the sales division of Caesars Entertainment. I'm on a team that's called Portfolio, which we sit outside. We sell everything outside of Las Vegas, Atlantic City, and Northern Nevada, which is like Lake Tahoe, Reno area.
Gotcha.
My responsibilities are to sell for Horseshoe Tunica and for Horseshoe St. Louis, which is formerly Hotel Lemire. So I pretty much do what I do. I honestly I don't sell the product first. I sell myself first. So for me, the biggest thing is building a relationship with that person because they want to feel like you have their best interest at hand,
Right, right.
So my first thing is to build a relationship with the person. And then that in return will get you repeat business.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's what I do. And so I sell if you need a space to have your event as far as like your class reunion, your family reunion. If you work for a corporate event, you want to have your holiday party, or
Hmm.
you want to have a meeting that is about 3 days long conferences. One of our biggest conferences that we do at Horseshoe Tunica is Congressional Black Caucus. They have
Hmm.
been doing it with us for years, and they come back every year. So that's one of the bigger conferences. I've worked with Kroger. I've worked with local businesses, newlyweds, and even outside, like I said, building relationships and building that business. Even though I've done business with them, like I've had Niagara Bottling, in Bahia. They have their Christmas party with me every year. But outside of that, because I do, community outside of my job, um, I've had them to donate water to my football boys. They donated a whole pallet of water. I've
Hmm.
had Frito-Lay, I've worked with them. They donated chips. So it builds community outside of
Hmm.
work, and I can build relationships outside of it. And they my friends and family forever.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
I love that. Though I would have to agree with you. Building relationships is the key. I tell people
Mhm.
that when they talk about when I lived in North Carolina for the 13 years, and the joke was I was the plug, I was the connector. I knew everybody.
Right.
I was like, well, if I build relationships with people, I want to get to know them for who they are. I want them to know me for who I am. How can I help? How can I serve? How can I, be on your team or help make whatever you're doing a more of a success, or either contribute to the success? Then you were right, Vanessa. It does build trust, and then because of that trust that's established, trusting relationships turn into community. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
then
It does.
eventually, yeah, the event was had, it was a success. But because I like you and I trust you, what are you doing next? I'll help you with your next event. And so when you made reference
Right.
to Niagara bottling, it says I put the sales tip number 2: trusted relationships convert to collaboration and community. And that's what makes a city, a small town more tighter knit, but it also helps you in building in larger communities because you find your tribe, you
So,
find your tribe.
just thinking about collaboration. So, I know people know it all the time. My friend Mary Catherine with the Tunica CVB, that is my girl. Like that's my collaboration partner. She's introduced me to different people, different organizations, where now like I get a chance to sit on the Mississippi Tourism Association's board. She introduced me to that organization.
Right,
And now I sit on the board for the second term. But even sitting use that, it puts me in connection with the CEOs of like Jackson, Mississippi, which is the capital. Visit Mississippi, which covers all the tourism for the state of Mississippi, and has connected me to different people there where
right.
they send me business because they trust me, it's a collaboration of not just in my community but statewide,
Right, that makes sense.
even outside of in Arkansas. Even with we go to Arkansas Society of Association Executives, we go to Tennessee Society of Association Executives, all those different organizations Mary Catherine introduced me to. And
Right,
we sell ourselves as Team Tunica. So we sell ourselves as a package deal, you
that's
know.
good.
So
That's
just
good.
the collaboration with her has opened up other avenues for me,
That makes sense.
and that's my girl. Like we,
Yes, yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah,
I know Mary Catherine and I hadn't even met her yet, but I feel like I already know her.
right.
And so
Everybody know Mary Catherine,
everybody
right?
know Mary Catherine. So I guess for those who are watching, you see why now I told you Vanessa is Miss Hospitality, because she's very effective at what she does in representing Caesars Entertainment. But because of the relationship she's established, she has contacts and connections in so many other entities that are in the hospitality industry. So much so that if she can't serve you with Caesars, she knows somebody else likely that she could refer you to with another organization, another entity. Let's say I wanted to do something in the area, with whether that be the North Mississippi area, which is Caesar's Tunica, but you did mention the Missouri. You have that demographic as well. So
Right. So
I've
this,
got more options even when working with you. I can decide if I want to go M
right.
or M, Mississippi
Listen,
or Missouri.
or either or. So Caesars Entertainment has properties from west to east, north to south. We have a property anywhere. So right now I just recently got promoted to regional property sales manager. So I'm now handling the St. Louis property. They have a nice little, small hotel with about 200 rooms. So we get a lot of citywide business from that property because it sits downtown right next door to the convention center.
Okay.
So they get a lot of that type of business, at that property. But it's new to me, and I'm excited to do that because it takes me outside. I know everything Mississippi. I know everything, and honestly, St. Louis, I have family there, so it's like a second home to me.
Yeah, right.
So it's not like I'm not familiar with St. Louis, but it gets me outside to my comfort zone.
That's
I
good.
always
That's
say,
good.
yeah, Mississippi is where I'm comfortable. Missouri, I'm like, let's
They're
see.
warming up for Vanessa to make her
They were
arrival.
warming up. I haven't made my footprint there yet, but I
Yeah,
have that in my plans to go there
exactly.
and introduce myself and make those connections also.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Conversations with Chosen Pen has brought you another diva of DeSoto County, women to watch, and you want to contact her for your next big event. So whether it be a corporate event, a church event, a social event, you need space, lodging, all the things. Whether you want to do it in
Oh,
Mississippi or Missouri, you know the person to watch. So here's her contact information: vburse@caesars.com is her email. And when you send her an email to tell her what it is that you want to do, make sure you tell her that you saw her on this podcast, right?
thank
So I'm
you.
going to show again, and then her phone number is here as well, 662-278-9111. This is her contact information. You all need to lock it in, stick and stay. reach out to Miss Vanessa Burse. And like I said, if she can't service you, if what you're needing cannot be made available readily with the company for which she represents, she has enough contacts in her arsenal to even maybe redirect you to someone else who can. And that's what it is. That's what it's all about. Teamwork makes the dream work. And when you are Miss Hospitality, you know, servicing people is so much more than just you as a person. It's about not only you, but the community for which you are supporting. Vanessa, any last words or another sale? Do you have another sales tip for us?
No, only thing, salespeople have to have thick skin.
Oh,
And yeah, because I get rejected all the time. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, on to the next.
I
So
know.
you have to have thick skin, and I would just say, be comfortable with the uncomfortable. You can
Right.
only grow if you're willing to change. So you have to be acceptable to change and willing to grow.
I love that.
Yeah.
I second that emotion. Well, anyway, you can
Yeah.
say it.
I
When you're in sales, sales is and it's about serving. It really is about serving. Everyone won't
It
say yes,
is.
and you got to understand that. And then growth is outside of your comfort zone. It's found outside of your comfort zone. So you've got to be willing to, as Vanessa made reference to working now in Missouri, it's taking her outside of her comfort zone, but she's up for the challenge. So growth is found outside your comfort zone. So be willing to pivot, to be willing to do the and then some, to be willing to do the things that you're not comfortable with. So I'm excited that Vanessa was my guest today, you guys. You see, we mesh so well. I have another thing to tell you is that she learned everything from me.
Go ahead and throw that in there.
Yes, I'm just gonna throw that out there. She learned
Yeah.
everything from me. She probably didn't know she was learning it by osmosis, but I was Vanessa's very first babysitter.
Yes,
That is
very
true, right?
much.
I was her babysitter. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that we go way back. Listen, our mothers were very close.
Very close. You think?
Our mothers were very close in that
You
they
may
were.
see a resemblance.
Yeah, right. Is that they maybe like take off your glasses.
I think we kind of look alike.
So yeah, Vanessa's mom and my mom are sisters. Vanessa is actually my first cousin, and I was her babysitter, truth be told.
She
So
was.
yeah. So listen, thanks again, cuz. Thank you for hanging out with me in this space, and thank you all
Absolutely.
for always
Thank you
joining
for
me on
having
Tuesday.
me.
Absolutely, no doubt. I'm glad we were able to make it happen. So thank you guys for joining me every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central, right here at the same place, same time. I want you to like, I want you to comment, and I definitely want you to share. Conversations with Chosen Pen this entire quarter is about women to watch, and we've got another phenomenal woman next month, which is also another diva of DeSoto County, and then we're going to shift gears in February and talk about women with heart. Either way, this entire quarter is dedicated to women who are not just pretty in brains and beauty, but they're making things happen in their community. So I'm excited to have connection with them, and I'm excited to be bringing them to you so that you can meet them too. So thanks again for hanging out with me. Have a great night, everybody, and I will see you next week. Take care.